It's that time of year again. It's April and it's Drive It Day, which can mean for me only one thing. I'm back at Sherburn Aero Club for the York Historic Vehicle Group's Drive It Day event. The convoy actually drives from Knavesmire on the outskirts of York and culminates here at the airfield. In previous years I have actually gone along and filmed the entirety of that journey, but today I've just come straight to the airfield. I had a bit of a late finish at work yesterday, so yeah, like I say, I've omitted that part this year. But if you do want to get an idea of what that part of the event's like, I have filmed it in previous years, so if you want to, you can go back at a later date and check those videos out. This is Drive It Day. You are watching Mark on Motoring. So it seems like a long time since the last show. In fact, it's the first one of the year, and it's actually the first time I've been back here at the Aero Club since filming the Corvette review here last year. Matty, you've fetched this fantastic Lancia Dedra, a really rare car now, and you've not had this car very long, have you?
No, I've only had it a week now. Like you say, it is rare. There's only, I think, known 6 left on the road, and 3 of this actual model, which is a 2-litre twin cam engine.
Oh right, okay, yeah. Excellent.
I think there's a lot still around. I think there's 32 maybe sawn, but only 6 on the road.
Right, okay.
So that's why many people, when they come up to me and say, oh, I haven't seen one of these for ages, then they wonder why when I tell them there's only 6 left on the road. Yeah,
well, sadly, obviously, Lancia got a bit of a reputation in the UK for corrosion, and sadly that sort of tainted the brand, but these were fantastic cars, and I think people are really missing out, aren't they, on them, but sadly, once there's none left...
Yeah, I mean, this one's been kept. We travelled down last weekend to Eastbourne, which is really down south. It's been stored in a barn in like this cellophane bubble, so it's been well preserved.
Or like a carcoon or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. With a bloke who sadly had some issues with his health and stuff like that, and that's why I put it up for sale.
Yeah. I mean, the car does look in excellent condition. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any signs of corrosion. The interior looks as though it's never been sat in. And I mean, again, manufacturers just don't do interiors like that anymore, do they?
No. It's full Alcantara seats, headlining, it's got all electric sunroof, electric mirrors, boot filler cap, everything's kind of modern on this vehicle,
Yeah. So what was it that sort of swayed you towards this vehicle then?
Growing up, my dad's always dragged me into the garage, and he's had Lancias, old BMWs, but mainly his favourite cars were Lancias.
Okay.
He had a Beta, but he'll have had Lancias before I was born, but from me being born to now, he'd have had a Beta, a Monte Carlo, and he had a Delta, HF, I think it was.
Okay.
So I've always been up there growing up.
So like, quite a back catalogue then.
Yeah. So I've always been up at garage, not doing anything with him, just maybe stood there as a little kid, handed him stuff with tools, but I've always been fascinated with him, you know, and he's took me out for drives. And
yeah, I mean, you were saying earlier your previous car was Italian, but it was very, very different to what you drive now. So you had a 595 Abarth?
Yeah, it was the Trofeo, I think how you pronounce it, model.
Okay.
It was adrenaline green, so it stood out quite a bit.
Right, okay.
But I've had 3 of them, and then for my first car, a Fiat Punto, so I haven't driven anything other than Italian cars.
Other than Italian cars. Well, it sounds like this one's found the right owner then.
You just wouldn't, but you just wouldn't expect someone like me to be stepping out of it, I think. Maybe an older person, but it's good to have someone younger that's interested in cars, like, of this age. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. We need to pass on the baton to someone else to preserve these cars. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, and best of luck with it, and I hope you get a lot of enjoyment from it.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
But it's not very often we manage to get bikes into the show videos. Now we've got a rather small selection here, not all that many really, but still nice to see them anyway. We've got a Honda 550 at the end there. I do love some of these old Hondas, the old Japanese bikes. I think they look great, especially with the double stacked exhaust pipes on there. We do have some modern stuff as well. There is a bike on there, you'll have to forgive me, it's a modern one and a brand that I'm not really familiar with, so if anyone knows anything about that and you want to drop it in the comments, please do. Honda VFR, by this point there was the 800cc versions, they had the V4 engine in. Fantastic bikes, I really do like the VFRs. In fact I do like the old VF500s that these bikes sort of stemmed from. Behind me we have this BSA Gold Star. Now again, this is actually a modern interpretation of an older bike, and the owner did actually mention that he's got the original one at home as well. Something probably a little bit more at my street though would be this Honda behind me. This is a Honda 404, and it was sort of the junior bike, shall we say, of the time. Obviously the CB750s were the sort of hailed by many as being one of the first super bikes, and this was just something a little bit more of an in-between bike. Honda did like the 4-strokes as well, so that extra capacity just helped it feel a little bit more sprightly against some of these little 2-stroke 250s that were coming out of Japan in that era. I think the manifolds on these are an absolute work of art. I've probably mentioned this before, but we've got this 4-into-1 manifold, and apparently the original ones of these are really difficult to get hold of. So these ones look fantastic. I'm not sure whether they're originals or reproductions, but yeah, this bike really does look wonderful, and it'll be a credit to its owner. Anyway, we're going to go and look at some more cars. I'm going to grab a hat because the sun's out, and yeah, I have been sunburnt at this airfield before. So in addition to the older classics, we actually have the YTTO, which I believe is the Yorkshire TT Owners Club. Yeah, quite a few cars here. There's one car I want to pick out though, one behind me. This actually belongs to a friend of mine. What's special about this one is it's one of the first generation TTs, but it's actually a Japanese import. So a few little giveaways here that it's a imported car. So we've got the Japanese style number plates on there. Around the back of the car, the tail lights are actually a little bit different. So there's where the indicator is at the bottom, that's actually amber on these cars. I know on the Euro cars, I think that's sort of more an entirely red unit. So yeah, just subtle little differences. I think some of the switchgear inside slightly different as well. This car has done less than 7,000 miles, so obviously it's clean as a whistle in the engine bay and underneath. Probably one of the tidiest examples you're likely to find. This one's actually the 3.2 V6 as well, Quattro, and it's an automatic. And now I'm not sure how many automatics you're likely to find in Europe, but I know the Japanese have long since been fans of the automatic cars, even in sports cars. There are quite a few other cars here as well. We've even got this TT Roadster here with the baseball glove style leather interior. It's a while since I've seen one of those. It's often the case at these events people don't always stay very long, so we've just had a Mercedes with a diesel engine go out of here, so something you don't see every day. The fantastic little Vauxhall Chevette HS that I've actually featured on the channel at a previous show before. Again, quite a rare beast to see out in the wild these days. Now here is a car I really didn't expect to see here today, because we've got a Panhard founded by Emile Levasseur and René Panhard back in the 1880s. These cars really were something very different to other classics that you tend to see. Now I believe this one is a Dyna Z, could be wrong, the PL17 does look very similar, but to all intents and purposes we've got a 3-box saloon, suicide doors with the shared hinges in the centre there. These actually I believe use flat twin engines, air cooled, and I know that later on in the brand's history they actually became part of the came under Citroën and Michelin ownership. But as I say, incredibly rare cars, definitely something very, very different. Did have the pleasure of featuring the CT24, which was sort of a two-door coupe that Panhard produced in the 1960s, and that was quite a while ago. These cars you really do not see. There were a lot of things that were sort of pioneered by Panhard that have become, shall we say, mainstays of the modern motor car. Going a bit more run and gun, a bit lightweight to try and get around a few of these cars. Scimitar SS1, again, a car that you do occasionally see, but by certainly no means common. I believe these were actually had some Ford running gear under the skin, I think, from memory. The car obviously did develop into other models throughout its life, and I did see a few of those on a stand at the NEC back in March. Just seen that fantastic Citroën SM go out. They were from an era when Citroën actually, I believe, owned Maserati, and the SM had that fantastic V6 in there as well. Very expensive cars these days, but certainly very different, and I believe very aerodynamic for the time. I can't remember what the CD figure was on those, but they were certainly very impressive. BMW 728i, if you want a bit of luxury. Jaguar XJS. Again, these cars you really don't see. I think the problem with these is people saw them as an E-Type replacement, and by all accounts they're actually very different. These are much more of a GT. Now this particular one is a 6-cylinder car. The V12s can be quite troublesome, especially the fuel injection systems on them. But I've had a quick chat actually off camera with the owner, and yeah, he's been going through doing a few little jobs on this car, and he says for the 3.6 litre version it drives quite well. It's still not a slow car by any means. Obviously it's an automatic, but you do have kick down on there. I know this is definitely what I would call Joseph Lloyd spec, because we've got this sort of racing green paint and this fantastic beige leather on the interior and lots of wood in there as well. So yeah, definitely the height of 1980s sophistication in there. Again, Humber, another fantastic slice of luxury motoring. I think I've actually seen that car here before. Austin 6 again, something you just don't see every day. A car actually I do really like, Triumph Vitesse. Now I actually like the saloon body style of these cars, but here we've got a convertible. Obviously we've got the twin headlights on these Vitesse models. But yeah, the Vitesse has the like the Herald, but with the 6-cylinder engine. So yeah, would love one of those. In fact, Rover Joe's got a Vitesse, and at some point when it's on the road I would love to go over, see if he'll let me have a go in that maybe. Again, a few other cars here. I think I've definitely featured that one before. Obviously my car you all know. Citroën Diane alongside its 2CV sibling. Rubber bumper MG Roadster. Ford Prefect, I've definitely featured that car before as well. The one car I did want to have a look at, we've got a Series 3 E-Type here. Beyond that we've got this Sunbeam Tiger. Now I like the Alpines. I think the Tiger was a slightly hotter version. Again, fantastic looking cars, and I think often forgotten about. We all remember the MGBs and the Triumphs, but yeah, I think they're very much the forgotten sort of classic British sports car. Like I say, I'm by no means going to be able to feature every car here today. There just isn't enough time in the day. Richard's Honda City Turbo 2 with the matching motor compo. I've actually reviewed that car on the channel not all that long ago, so if you haven't checked that out already, in fact I'll probably even leave a link at the end of this video to that one if you want to check that one out. This car, I actually interviewed Paul, who owns this car, a good few years ago now. Chevy Impala. Huge car even by today's standards, so yeah, definitely for the 1950s and 60s that would have probably dwarfed most of the cars on our roads. Paul's got a passenger riding shotgun. We've got a Capri 2.8 laser. Next to that we've got a Wolsey, if you want a slice of luxury motoring in a small car. MG Magnet, I believe. Again, I think I've seen that car here before. Actually really like the styling on those. Probably the quintessential British roadster, the MGTD. I know the American GIs loved those and took them home and kicked off the British sports car boom that lasted for decades. MGB GT, MGB Roadster, MGR-V8. Again, these are getting quite sought after collectibles these days. How strong is the want for one of these? Probably one of my favourite cars of the 1990s. A Lotus M100 Elan S2. This one in green. As I say, probably one of my favourite cars of the 90s. I mean, it looks like it's going 100 mile an hour, just stood still. Obviously you've got that wedge profile with the pop-up lights. In many ways styling, it's very much like the larger Esprit, the Peter Stevens incarnation of the Esprit from that era. But obviously with a convertible roof. Now this looks just like a mid-engine car, but in reality it's front engine, front wheel drive. Now I know a lot of enthusiasts of the cars were criticised for that, but I'm told these are one of the best handling front wheel drive roadsters that money can buy even to date. I've not yet had the pleasure of driving one, but who knows, maybe at some point we'll have the opportunity to get one on the channel. The cars actually later on, I think it was Kia from memory, I think, who bought the rights and actually produced some of these cars under their own name. Those cars are actually incredibly rare now, and I would imagine values probably reflect it. The Lotus models though, well, I've seen the odd one or two of these for sale in recent years, and they were hovering around sort of 7 or 8 grand, the ones I've seen. So yeah, a relative bargain really for what they are, and I'm sure at some point these will appreciate further, because as I say, there really aren't that many about, and by all accounts these are fantastic cars. Maybe you've always fancied a Reliant Robin but didn't like the idea of only having 3 wheels. Add another wheel on, you've got the Reliant kitten. One car I would have loved to have known a bit more about is this Rambler. It looks ever so slightly customised. That's a fantastic looking car, isn't it? Very, very sort of 1950s, 1960s-esque, but in a state form as well. That could be a very, very usable classic, and I imagine a lot more fun than you might at first think. If this is your car, do pop something in the comments, because as I say, I would love to know a bit more about this. A lovely Riley here. I believe these were the ADO 16. Basically was built under different marks, so badge engineering is certainly nothing new. Something else to note, we've got the Drive It Day plate in the window of that car as well, and on a few other vehicles that are here today. Now, funds from sale of the Drive It Day plates goes to the NSPCC Child Line. So you can obviously order those online. I will leave some links in the video description. In fact, there'll probably be a few links in the description today to things like this venue, York Historic Vehicle Group, and a few other things as well, so do by all means check those out. I love this little Austin van here. Isn't that the cutest little vehicle you've ever seen? I know we all automatically think Wallace and Gromit when we see one of these, but yeah, I really do like that. It's surprising how narrow these cars are. In fact, when I was stood at the back of it, you literally do feel like you could put your arms out and give the car a big hug because it is that narrow. Apologies, my SD card ran out on my other camera, so I've had to run back to the car and switch things up a little bit. This Ford Anglia I actually featured here last year, I think. One very much like it. What I didn't feature though would have been some of these pre-war Fords. I'm not even going to pretend to know a great deal about these cars, but we've got a very nice selection of them that have turned out here today. As I say, we do seem to be having some fantastic weather here this weekend here in Yorkshire, so I suppose that's brought out a lot of vehicles that we might not ordinarily get have the pleasure of seeing. A couple of lovely VW Type 25s here. I remember the days when these weren't all that expensive. That seems such a long time ago now though. One of the things I really like about this event here is the proximity to the airfield. There's always a lot going on, aircraft coming in and out all the time here, especially on a day like today. I'm really liking this Morris Minor pickup truck here, but next to that, I know every car I say is my favourite car of the show, but the show just keeps delivering. Sunbeam Talbot 90. As I say, there are certain cars you will always see at shows, and then there are other cars you just don't see anywhere ever. I think I've seen one of these at a show maybe last year from memory, but as I say, really don't see them very often at all. I've very slightly patinaed Lotus Turbo S3. Again, it's been one of my lifelong dream cars. As I said, this one, you can see the glass fibre bodywork could do with a little bit of attention, but who cares? The car's out driving, and that's what these things were really built for. These are the earlier Giugiaro designed cars. I know some actually prefer the styling on these earlier cars. Obviously they've got the louvers by this point as well. The very first cars actually had a glass screen on the back. Obviously we've got turbo S3 on the side with those skirts and those vents in the back as well. And of course the BBS alloy wheels on their cross spokes. Shows like this are always an opportunity to have a chat with old friends. And I've already had a chat with Hilary, who's brought this fantastic Mazda 323F. I still can't believe this car's done over 200,000 miles. Absolutely remarkable. And the condition of this car, you would think that it had come out of the showroom only yesterday. Now I've said it before and I'll actually say it again. This car I think would be a serious contender for the Photo Concours arena. I really do. Fancy an opportunity to own something a little bit different? Well, how about this one here that's for sale? This car is actually based on a Toyota MR2, a Mark II, but it's got a Verante body kit on it. Obviously, still got that mid-mounted engine, boot at the back, interior, again, straight from an MR2. Definitely something a bit different, and yeah, that could be yours. This Hyundai Pony I actually saw at a local meet quite recently, and again you just don't tend to see cars like this in this sort of condition. Definitely a survivor if any. But a lovely Unos Roadster, and next to it Mercedes SL 280. Testing my knowledge a bit here, 109 is it these ones? Simon at Lot 76 Cars, I know you'll be able to correct me on this if I've got that wrong. That is a fabulous interior if ever I've seen any. One of my long-term favourites is the Rover P5B. Obviously we've got that 3.5 litre Buick alloy V8 in there. Car I would love to own, but sadly I think I've missed the boat on those. Maybe something like this fantastic Jaguar SS is more your speed. Again, something I've not really seen at a show for quite a while. Quite liking this this one here as well, this Zephyr. I think I might have seen this one at a show here last year. We've got a few other interesting customs here as well. Some of these, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because they have featured in videos before. This one I don't think I've seen though. This is definitely something a little bit different. So we've got a twin cam Mazda engine in there, so I'm guessing that's probably out of an MX-5. This must be quite an early minor as well because we've got the split screen on there. And again, that is very low to the ground, so I'm not sure whether that's on an air ride system or whether it's just on very low springs. Interestingly, on a Q plate as well. You know, for viewers from overseas, Q plates generally represented kit cars from the UK. There's Morgan over there. Now, actually, over here, there's somebody I do want to run up and surprise. Somebody I've actually featured on the channel before. And I'm going to catch him completely off guard here because he knows I'm here filming, but he didn't know I was going to come and surprise him.
It's Mark. Hello, Mark.
Now then, we all right?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you're going to have to tell me what this is because I've no idea.
It's a 1972 Ford Civer racerboat. They only made a few. It's all Beetle. It's all made from a 62 Beetle.
Excellent, fantastic. Now that you've told me that bit of information, I'll leave you in peace.
Okay, man.
Nice seeing you again.
You take care.
Well, a car I actually spotted here earlier, I've just now had the good fortune of bumping into the owner, Alan. You've got this exceptionally rare Panhard Dyna Z. As I said to you earlier, I've been to a lot of French car shows,
yeah,
and you just don't see Panhards, do you, at all?
Not a lot, no, not a lot at all. And the only reason I've got it is it's an old family car. So made in 1957, Grandad bought it in 1958. Passed on to my mother, who's French, then passed on to me, and it's been in the family ever since. You know, for weddings and proms and you name it. It doesn't come out very often.
Yeah.
It's getting on a bit now. It's got about 44,000 kilometres on the clock.
Okay.
After 67 years, so so what's that? 38,000 miles. Takes a lot of driving, handles like a ship at sea, but it's an old car.
Panhard were always a little bit different to other manufacturers, and you know they did sort of pioneer the engineering a little bit differently, didn't they?
Yeah, but a lot of innovation went into the design. I mean, this is a metal body. The predecessor to this, the 1956, was all aluminium.
Right.
So they were very much into light cars, aerodynamics. They started doing work on helping design planes. And if you down on the running board, they commemorate that with all the aeroplanes on the running board.
Oh, right.
So yeah, no, it's
It's a magnificent detail. You just wouldn't. You could easily miss, couldn't you?
yeah. And then of course Citroen bought them. Flat twin 850cc. It'll cruise happily all day at 8 kilometres an hour.
I think that's where the aerodynamics come in, because we know in a lot of European countries the taxation on larger engine cars, then they had to be a little bit more innovative, didn't they? And if you've got a small engine, the best ways of getting the best out of it is to make cars that are lightweight and that are aerodynamic.
I guess so, yeah. And as I say, this certainly does the job there. It's not a big engine, but it drives fine, and I drive it like a 67-year-old car, which is what it is. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's fantastic. I'm certainly glad you brought it out today. I always say sometimes you can go to a show and it just takes that one vehicle that you see that made it all worthwhile coming, and I think today for me that this is the car.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's about time I were wrapping this video up here today. If you've enjoyed the video, please do give the video a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you've enjoyed the video, and hopefully they'll show it to a few more people as well. Again, anything that I've missed or that you'd like to add to here, drop me something in the comments down below. Always nice to read those comments. I will of course catch you on another video in the near future very, very soon. Now, I just need to apologise for the delay in getting this video out. I do have a few little projects already on the go, and my computer is a bit like my memory, filling up, and I may struggle to actually get the files from today's video on the computer until I've completed a few other projects that I've already started. So again, apologies in advance for that delay. There will be a members early view video to come very, very soon that I'm working on, which is a little extra video from the show at the NEC last month, a little bit behind the scenes, so a little bit more about the experience of exhibiting at the show. I of course had my Megane Coupe on display down there, and it's just a little bit of the things that you might not normally see as a member of the public visiting the show. As always, thank you to the York Historic Vehicle Group for setting up an outstanding event again, as they do every year. They've really knocked this one out of the park. Big thank you to Sherburn Aero Club for accommodating us. Again, a fantastic venue that I highly recommend, always worth a visit, even if you just come to see the aeroplanes and visit the cafe. Do check out those links in the video description. I'll catch you on a video again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.